Hello, welcome to Benjamin Tree. Today we're going to be looking at the function value in more detail. In a previous lesson, when we were trying to make ordinal numbers using a long, complicated function, there were certain times inside that giant function we needed to use the function value, and there was other times that when we did not need to use the function value. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go in and look at many different situations and decide, do we need to use the function value or not? So to remember, value can take a string of text that looks like a number and turn it into an actual number. So let's take just a quick example. If we take the context of B1 that says 28 days later, and we pull from the left-hand side and B1, just the first character, it's going to come back as a 2. But what happens is right now the 2 is on the left-hand side, so this is technically a string of text and not a numerical value. So if we type in value and change this, now the 2 is on the right-hand side, and this is treated as a number and not as a string of text. So we're going to look at a bunch of different situations and decide when do we need to use value, when do we not need to use value. All right, so let's start off with math, just a basic math function. We're going to take the string of text, the number 2, but as a string of text and multiply it by 3, and we want to see if we can get an actual numerical result or not without using value. So let's start our equation, hit equals, and we're going to say left of B1, we're going to pull out that number 2, but as a text, we're going to multiply it by 3. All right, so we get a 6, and it's on the right-hand side of the cell, so that worked. So when we're doing some basic math, plus, minus, divide, multiply, you don't need to change text of number into the actual numerical value. All right, so next let's take in the function find, and we are going to look inside of we're going to look inside of the text B1, okay, but inside the text we want to find the letter A, and it's going to be inside of text B1, and we're going to start on the second character. So we're going to say left B1. So we're just going to say, all right, that's going to be a 2, start on the second character when you're looking for the letter A inside of 28 days later. So we hit enter, and it gives us a 5. So the first A appears on the 5th character. So when we were using B1 to tell us inside the function find, we're using the 2 to find the location, we didn't need to change that into a numerical value. All right, next we're going to use the function write. Okay, so we're going to be looking to pull some letters out of a text, and so what we're going to do is we're going to pull from the text B1, and we're going to pull 2 characters, so left B1, and when we pull it out we get ER. Okay, so here when we use that string of text that says 2, not the number, the function write was able to understand pull the last 2 letters of 28 days later. All right, so let's try random, and we're going to do a random between. All right, and we're going to do rand between, and the bottom is going to be left B1. Okay, so we're pulling up that 2 as a text, and the top is going to be 10. Okay, so we close it down, and there you go. It comes out as a 2. And if we change things, it's making random numbers within the range of 2 and 10. Okay, so inside the function, when we were defining the range of random numbers, we were able to use the text of the number 2 in order to set those boundaries. All right, so let's take a look next. We're going to go to if. We're going to use an if here. So if, okay, left B1, that the 2 pulled out as a string, equals the number in random, then we want to say same, or we want to say false. Okay, same if it's true, false if it's not true. Or how about we put different? That sounds a little bit better. Different if it's false. Okay, so right now it says 8. Okay, but let's type in the number 2 here. It still says different. Okay, so if this was working correctly, right now in the cell B6, it would say, hey, this is true because the 2 that we pulled out of B1 is equal to the 2 in the random cell of B5, so we should have the same. All right, so I'm going to change this to the value of left B1, and it's going to turn that B1, the 2 from B1, into an actual number. So let's go back, and we're at 2. Now it's coming out the same because they say, hey, this numerical value of 2 is equal to the number inside of B5. Okay, so now we can see that when you are making comparisons with equal, greater than, less to, not equal to, we're going to have to turn the number inside the text string into an actual number. All right, let's go into choose. All right, we're going to choose. We're going to make the index number going to be left of B1. Okay, and the value, if we choose the first index number, we want to reply with the word 1. If we turn with the second position, the second index number, we want to change it to, we want to display 2. All right, so as you can see, we were able to, the choose, when it's looking for index number, it was able to take the string of text that looks like the number 2 and use it correctly. All right, last one we're going to be looking at is OR. So this is like an if statement, but it has multiple if statements, and if at least one of them is true, then it's going to reply everything as true. So let's take a look at OR. All right, our first logical test is if left of B1 equals 1, or if left of B1 equals 2, and give me a true statement. If one of these are true, give me a true statement. So we hit enter, but it's telling me false. Okay, so like in the if function, it needs to use the actual numerical to compare it to something else. So we're going to go ahead and change these to value. The value of left B1 is equal to 1, or if the value of left B1 is equal to 2, give me a true statement. Now it's coming out as true because when it's comparing, it needs to compare the actual numerical values to the number it's comparing to. Okay, you can't compare the number inside of a text string to an actual numerical number. All right, so let's do a quick review today. So if we're doing math, if we're just doing some math, plus, minus, divided by, multiply, exponentials, do we need to change a number inside of a text into an actual numerical number? No, we don't. All right, if we are filling out numbers inside of a function, it requires like starting location or range, do we need to change the number inside of a text of string to an actual numerical value? No, we don't. If we're comparing the number inside of a text of string to another numerical number, equals, less than, greater than, not equal to, do we need to use the value? Yes. So when you are making comparisons between two numbers, both of them have to be numerical numbers. So if you're pulling a number out of a string of text and you're comparing it to an actual number, you need to use the function value to change it into a numerical value to make the comparison actually work. So today in Benjamin Tree, we looked at the function value into more depth of when we have to use it. I hope you're able to able to understand this quite well, and you can go to the blog and review all of these previous functions that we have learned. So if you are a little bit confused about something, you can take a look on the blog and find links to those older lessons to better understand some of these functions I use. If you have any questions, please leave a comment on YouTube or leave a comment on the blog. We hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you for using Benjamin Tree.